Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Wonder Series. Our goal here is to truly help you to look at your life from a different perspective and to open your mind to different ideas, ideologies, thought processes, and really incorporate those into your life so you can live a healthy, happy life where you are flourishing. So I'm really excited to talk to my special guest today. My guest is Lyn Hogrefe. Did I say that right?
It's Hogrefe. You're close. It's good.
Hogrefe.
Yeah, good.
Lyn is the founder and executive director at the Happy Hormone Cottage. Ladies, you are going to be so excited about this conversation. So who is Lyn? What is her situation? What is her deal? Who is she? So Lyn is a 30-year veteran educator who founded the Happy Hormone Cottage 13 years ago to fill the niche between what doctors are not taught in medical school in this arena of hormone health and the truth about the needs of your body as you begin to age. And when we talk about begin to age, like from age 35 and on. So eye-opener, right, ladies? So Lyn, I'm so excited to talk to you. Welcome to the Wonder Series.
Thank you so much. It's been great meeting you and getting to know you. I think that what you're doing is fabulous. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely. And the feeling is mutual. I am so excited about what you're doing and how you're helping women. And this conversation for a lot of people is going to be an eye opener, and it hopefully is going to be a jumping off point for women to go, okay, hold on a minute. We got some things that we want to do for us. So tell me a little bit about how you got to this place where you founded the Happy Hormone Cottage, which I love the name, by the way.
Yeah, but you either like it or you don't, but you're not going to forget it, right? So
this is true.
Yeah. So I have a little laryngitis, so bear with me here. So when I was 49, whopping 49, and still adorable, teaching inner city 6th grade all year. I am all day inner city and one classroom. I love my kids. But I ended up with this 2-pound fibroid tumor in my uterus. I named him Bob. And 2 pounds is pretty big, right? So you could almost see him underneath my clothing. It caused me a lot of hemorrhaging. He almost grew exponentially. I went to OBGYN every year, and he just arrived and, oh, I'm Bob, I'm here. So I went at the end of the year as long as I could until May, and I ended up having a hysterectomy. And my surgeon said to me before I went in, okay, Lyn, ovaries in, ovaries out. And I didn't know back then in 2004 that they were our little hormone factories. How would I have known that? But Gilda Radner, remember her from Saturday Night Live, or am I dating myself?
No, I totally remember her.
She had just died of ovarian cancer. I thought, gosh, I'm Irish. I either drink or I worry. Let's worry. I don't want to worry, so let's get the ovaries out. So I said ovaries out. So I had a radical hysterectomy. My husband, Jeff, who at that time was a pharmacist, he saws women coming in every month for their hormone medication. But oh my God, not on my watch. They were all really cranky, like 40 pounds overweight. They didn't want sex with their husband. He's 9 years younger. He thought, oh no. So he flew to Houston, Texas to become a compounding pharmacist. And went to my doctor's appointment with me, Dr. Frank, OBGYN, whom I loved. And it was, just picture this, it was me and this little, 49-year-old woman after surgery. My husband, Jeff, our PH in his white lab coat, and Dr. Frank in his OBGYN lab coat. And I'm sitting like a tennis match, and they're talking over my head for my 15-minute copay. And at the end of the 15 minutes, Dr. Frank said to Jeff, okay, Jeff, your wife, your cause, not mine. I'll send this prescription for bioidentical hormone therapy for you, not me. So had he not been there, it would have been a failure. So we left his office, and Jeff went back to a friend's compounding lab. He began to make my hormone creams from plant-based powders, and I began to use those creams and went back to teaching the following fall. And I felt amazing. I mean, I was running circles on my friends and teacher friends who were 35 years old and a little older. I had energy. I had libido. I felt great. I was vibrant. I was teacher of the year that year. And I thought, oh my God, I'm onto something. It was called progesterone, and no one knew about it. Why? It's not taught in medical school. Hello. So I finished teaching. And 3 years later, in 2007, my 30 years were in. I thought, gosh, I really want to help women understand this arena. Why not me? I talk fast because I can. Why wouldn't I? From New York State, I'm not shy. So I opened up my little cottage called the Hormone Cottage, and people showed up in droves, and that's how I began. It's been a wild, crazy ride that I would never have predicted.
I think that's the most exciting piece is like, you talk from a place of total true experience. And, why not you? You said it, why not you? And I'm so glad that it was you. And by the way, no wonder why we connect so well, because I'm from New York as well.
Yay.
We got the New Yorkers here. We talk,
York, yeah.
yeah, that's why we both talk too fast, and people look at me sometimes like, ooh, what did she say?
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think in this area, when it comes to education, in this arena, sometimes we do have to talk fast in order to kind of get that thing that the person needs to hear. We got a lot to talk about today. So you mentioned progesterone, like, well, yeah, kind of when you're in 7th or 8th grade or whenever you have sex class, you sort of learn about the hormones, but when you're 13, why do you care, right?
Right. We talk about reproduction. That's true, but you don't really dissect what the jobs these hormones do. And it's not taught in medical school. In fact, doctors have said to me, Lyn, I've had 4 hours of hormone education in medical school. Denise, 4 hours? That's nothing. So and I've always said, I love our doctors. My brother-in-law's a doctor. They want to help. They just don't know about nutrition or supplements or hormones. And if they don't know about that, we're kind of a country of dis-ease in women who are over age 35. And why 35? Our ovaries begin to age at the age of 35. Progesterone production decreases, and therein lies the rub. This progesterone is our joy of life hormone. It's our everything hormone, and no one knows about it, right?
No, so true. And it's funny, that you say about starting at age 35. So Mark and I got married. I was 32 when we got married. So we waited a year or two, and then we thought, oh, maybe we should try to have a child. And at 35, people were looking at me like, ooh, it's kind of late. And I'm thinking, but I just got married. I'm still young. I still feel good. And it was not fun. It was emotional. It was physically draining. I think they put me through like early menopause with all the hot flashes and all of the stuff, because they were just pumping me with hormones. And to be truthful, I don't know what they were actually supposed to do.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know if they were synthetic drugs masking as hormones, the real thing, because I've never been into a fertility issue, but I can imagine they might have not been the real thing that we promote. I don't know.
Right. But that's always been kind of, that's what they do, when you're a kid or 16 or whatever, and you go on birth control, it's always the synthetic hormone. And rarely do we talk about, natural stuff. For many years, it was kind of ooh, woo, woo when you talked, holistic and natural. So let's talk about progesterone a little bit more. So it is our happy hormone. It is our vitality. We'll call it the vitality hormone.
Yeah, sure.
Why don't we know this? Doctors don't know it, but why don't women? Why hasn't the word gotten out yet?
That's a great question. And the cynical side of me says, because Big Pharma doesn't want you to know. And so Big Pharma controls a lot of things in our country, including some of the media, I think, in my cynical mind, bear with me. I think the waters are kind of kept muddy on purpose. And so people like me that have a big mouth and aren't afraid to use it a little bit, get out there and try to educate women. So as a 30-year veteran educator, my goal is to educate and empower you to know what we need to know about our bodies and make the best choice for you. It really just isn't taught in medical school. So should I tell you about progesterone real quick? You want me to do that right now? Okay.
Absolutely.
6th grade teacher tool here. So here is my beautiful wine goblet. Okay. Let's pretend that we're all 35 and the wine goblet is full of progesterone at the age of 35. Okay. Every year past 35, we go, our ovaries become more wrinkled and more anxious and more less productive and more ornery. Wrinkled like my thighs, possibly. Okay. By the time you get into your late 30s and early 40s, the cup is down into the less than 50% mark. By the time you're in your 42, 43, 46 range, the progesterone cups and receptors are really pretty empty. Our receptors are really not full again. And so all those jobs progesterone get done are simply not done. And these jobs would be sleep, taking care of depression, taking care of anxiety, elevating the mood, getting rid of sugar cravings, helping aches and pains, prevention of breast cancer. Those jobs aren't done anymore. So when women are about the ripe age of 42 to 46, my favorite age woman ever, because you guys are sort of hot messes then, no offense, I affectionately call hot messes. They're not sleeping. No one's having sex in Ohio. Maybe you have to be Minnesota where you are to have good sex. I don't know, maybe or maybe not.
I'm not sure.
Anxious, moody. And so we really want to go ahead and, test women and get the progesterone receptors refilled. They can have that joy of life again. And it's our basic hormone we have to refill first and foremost. And no one knows about it. No one knows. Fertility doctors know about it, but no one else knows about it.
Well, the interesting thing is all of those things that progesterone does is all of the things that we keep hearing in the media that we're struggling with. I mean, I know in my background, when it comes to weight gain, I'm 51 now, and I'm starting to, for the first time really in my life, going, where did this come from? And, you know, my background is food and nutrition. So I know what I'm eating. I know how much I'm exercising, but that's changed. But interestingly, still on the media, kind of back to media, less about me, depression, anxiety, obesity, weight gain, sleep. These are things you hear about every single week on the Today Show, on CNN, on all of the big news channels. And you just made a great point. Perhaps it's because a lot of us are missing this specific hormone, this very important hormone.
But if you're over 35, you are. It's called physiology, right? It's age. It's called aging. And so we go to our OBGYNs where we start, and they do their annual pap smear and stuff. And then they'll say, well, how are you? Because they're lovely. And they'll say, gosh, doc, I'm not sleeping. I'm not interested in sex. I'm so tired. I'm anxious. I'm moody. I don't feel like myself is what I hear a lot. The doctor will say, well, here's maybe Ambien, or here's Prozac. And I begin to twitch and think, but you're not Prozac deficient, my love. It's progesterone, and no one knows about it. So we have to fill that gap. And so getting podcasts out like this are so important for women to grab a hold of. And if you go to my website, which is happyhormonecottage.com, I've got a readings and resources webpage full of studies and articles and books on this very topic. You can get educated. It's not hard. It's easy. You got to read up,
I think that's a point. We're so used to being spoon-fed, and every time there's a problem, we run to the doctor, and the doctor's supposed to fix it. And what do they do though? They give you a pill. And so at this stage of my life, I'm on one medication, and you know what it is.
I do.
I am still on birth control, mostly to control my night sweats and hot flashes. I didn't think I was struggling with moodiness, but apparently my husband told me the other day that I was.
Surprise. Yeah. And progesterone actually takes care of things like the hot flash night sweat piece. So, and women often are on the pill at an older age because they're afraid of coming off of it, but we give them progesterone to help them transition to being birth control free, and then going on to the progesterone therapy to do all those wonderful jobs that it's needed to do in your body for the rest of your life, forever, until you croak, until death, forever, death.
Until death you part with your progesterone. Yeah. And I have to say, I'm one of those women who's afraid to come off birth control because the night sweats were so bad, and the hot flashes and all that was so bad that I've just been dealing with it until I met you a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago now. All of a sudden I was like, ooh, wait a minute, this is going to be exciting, because I don't want to have to stay on birth control. It doesn't make sense. I'm 51 years old. Don't think I'm going to have a baby anytime soon. I think that's behind me.
Yeah. And there's synthetic drugs, and they're really not helpful for you. So we don't appreciate that particular therapy for you.
Right. And when I go to the doctor, it's the only thing that they have to offer me. And so that's why I think it's so important that we're having this conversation, because there are other alternatives. And, we talk alternative, people kind of go, ooh, alternative medicine, that's a little woo-woo. I believe it's becoming much more mainstream in this day and age.
It is. And our goal is to find and fix the root cause, look at the body as a whole and not just in individual parts, because our body works like a car engine. We're all in one unit, right? It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of like you had mentioned in a talk that you had given that I had participated in, you talk about the car. You put really good, gas in your car because you want it to perform. Well, your body is, that probably more, appropriate for the body to have all the good stuff.
Absolutely. And we have to talk about, progesterone is what we give as our progesterone, our hormone of choice for women who are still having a period. Once you're into the menopause piece, no longer having them, then we introduce estrogen and testosterone, really important hormones as well. So it's really a three-pronged piece. And let's not forget thyroid and cortisol. And if we ever get a chance to talk about thyroid, maybe a different podcast, no one does it right. No one does. I'm so sorry to say that. And so women are suffering. And so you have to do the appropriate blood panel and really get into the nitty gritty of the thyroid. And no one seems to get that. So it's really frustrating.
I would agree, because I had a conversation with my mom and several of her friends within the last 2 years. All of them have thyroid issues. They're all on the same medication. And their answer to their statement to me was, well, Denise, as you get older, this is just going to happen. It's going to happen to you too. Your thyroid just stops working and you need this medication.
Not true.
Thank you.
It's not true. And so, yeah, we have to really get at the root cause of cortisol. Let's not underestimate cortisol. If you've got high or low cortisol, it can be a weight gain piece. And Denise, you're a very busy woman. You're stunning and beautiful and a go-getter. And so I'm sure there's some cortisol wankiness going on there. And that's a weight issue as well. So the testing that we do at my Happy Hormone Cottage also identifies cortisol issues, can help that piece. Well, again, body as a whole, fixing and finding the root cause is what we want to do as naturally as we can without drugs, right? It makes sense. It just
Absolutely.
makes sense.
So let's talk a little bit about the testing, because you can go to the doctor and get
Blood work.
Blood work done. Thank you. I was like, the test. You get blood work done, and results come back. Maybe, and the thing that I think is a huge disconnect too is understanding what it even means. So let's talk to us about the testing that you do and the conversations that you have with your patients.
Yeah. So when you do blood work for hormones, if you're lucky enough to get some blood work done, it gives you a number. Even when I began my cottage in 2009, the testing we use today wasn't invented. We did saliva testing, and that was better than what we thought blood work was. But today we do this, it's called the Dutch test, and it stands for Dried Urine Testing for Comprehensive Hormones. And it gives you a 15-page report on methylation pathways, metabolites, and really big words that's going on with your body with your sex hormones, along with pregnenolone, DHEA, and cortisol. And with that 15-page report, we can really identify what you need for your body, and we customize therapy for you based on our plant-based product, our plant-based, creams and so on, powders that we make into creams, and then you're used individually, dosed individually. It's not one size fits most, it's one size fits you. So we can really get in there and delve. And when you have a headache, you take a Tylenol and your headache goes away. This is not like that. I mean, how long have you had your hot flashes and night sweats and fatigue and all that? So we need about 3 weeks to 3 months to get in there, refill your receptors with progesterone, massage all those beautiful receptors and get used to the progesterone and the estrogen and so on again. And the body can come back and sort of, as a well-oiled machine, begin to work again with 4 full tires of air and oil that's been changed and lubed and gas in the car, and you've polished the leather seats and you feel really good again. It takes a little bit of time. The farther away you are from your optimal hormone balance, the longer it takes, but it doesn't take that long. And once you're there, you want to stay there the rest of your life through until you're no longer with us. It's important for the high quality of life, really important.
Absolutely. And that is our goal here at Living Healthy List, is to help people live a healthy, happy lifestyle that works for them, where they truly flourish. They're not just getting by. And it's interesting. You said something a second ago, it depends on how long your hormones have been kind of wonky and out of balance. And I think about this from my own personal experience. I was 37 when I went to the doctor the first time and said, something's not right. I'm getting these hot flashes. What is going on? One question they could not answer was, I had been on fertility drugs. Was that causing, could that have caused it? Mm-hmm. Nobody knew. But this is what the doctor said to me. Oh, Denise, at your age, it's just a phase. You'll be fine. I'm 51 now. It's a long time.
You're still suffering. Yeah, I know. I've heard it all. And again, and not to make fun of our doctors because they're great people, but when they say go home, walk your dog, it'll be over soon. You'll be dead soon. It's a part of life. I can't help you. Women weep. They're so frustrated. I feel their pain because this is so far from the truth, because we can help you. This isn't taught in medical school. So in this arena, women have to go outside the box and do things like sign up for one of my hormone 101 classes, or read books, or go to websites, or, and then where do you look for information? Because you can get off the beaten path and get wrong information. I always hold up, I brought my book here with me. Here's one of my favorite. Can you see it with the glare? One of my favorite books. You can read this, Vital Hormones 101 by Dr. Jeffrey Dosh. A great read, not in medical speak. It gives you the skinny on cortisol, thyroid, and hormones. You have to kind of do the work on your own. So even your doctor probably won't know. And I want to talk about expense for a second. What we do, we don't really use insurance. We don't have a copay. But after the initial outset of expenses, it's really, really reasonable. I mean, we make our progesterone in these HR tickers. This will last you up to 6 months. It's $90.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, a latte a day. I mean, it's just so easy. It's not expensive. The testing originally is $350, and the NP appointment, but it's not over the lot, your quality of life and the length of your life. It's so little, it's pennies.
It's so true. And so yesterday, I just had to get a new pair of glasses because I broke mine. And just one pair of glasses is over $500. So if you're thinking, and you need your glasses.
Right.
I probably can't drive until I get the new pair.
These are $800 for no line trifocals because I'm not 35 anymore and I've got to see, right? So we know blink an eye, but when it comes to our own personal health, some women take a back seat. And I always say, when wives matter, families thrive, right? We have to matter.
Absolutely. And as we get older, I don't have children. I have a stepdaughter who's 30, so she's kind of on her own.
Yeah.
But Mark and I, it's us. Our family is the two of us. And if one of us feels like crap, what is the point? If there's a way for me to feel great, for women to feel great, and to really be active in their lives and feel vibrant. And, at 51, I know I got a long life to live.
And you want to feel great.
I do. I want to feel great. And we all want to feel great. And I think so many women, like you said, we're all just kind of going, oh, we've taken care of everybody else and we take the back seat. Well, I think at this stage in life, there's no back seat, lady, you're driving.
Absolutely. And also one thing too I want to mention is this is a slow decline from age 35 to 42 to 46. It happens so you don't even recognize. You wake up in the morning, you think, oh my God, I don't feel like myself. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. What has happened to me? A light bulb goes off. It's been going on for 10 years. It's just been such a slow decline. You don't really realize it. And then what do? You go to your doctor for help. They give you Prozac or Ambien, or they'll say it's a part of life. And it's like, it's simply not the truth. So we have to get the word out to help women make better choices or good choices for their health for the long haul, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the whole reason why I started Living Healthy List, is because at 37, I was having these issues. And like I said, doctor told me, oh, you'll be fine. And everything that I was finding online literally ran the gamut from, this is normal, it's a phase, which I'd already heard before, that wasn't helpful, to, oh, well, it could be this, or this, or you could have a tumor and you're dying. Really, people, I'm having hot flashes. Get over it.
I know, isn't it? It's crazy. It's so crazy. We hear it all. You have to laugh or you will cry. It's really sad, Yeah,
it's true. And I kind of said, in a way, the internet is broken in a way, because there is so much of this stuff, all of this information and misinformation. At the same time, people like you and me are making the internet amazing, because we are sharing honest, reliable, and unbiased information. And, when I say unbiased, I mean, when you've been through something, Oh,
absolutely. I want to say too that there are people that are healthy out there that juice and they take all the supplements, as do I, and they eat well, but none of that's going to help hormone balance. You have to actually have actual hormones. You can't juice your way to health. You can't supplement. You can't run around the block. I'm here, world. I'm back. It doesn't. You have to use medical hormone replacement therapy to actually replace hormones. Hello. And it just boggles the mind. I mean, I love a good smoothie, but that's not going to do it. I'm really sorry.
And, I appreciate that you said that, because, I'm one of those people, I exercise, I'm probably annoying people to most people, because I exercise twice a day. I get a little workout in the morning, and then when the weather's nice, and this because you live pretty far north too.
Yeah.
You're in Ohio. I'm in Minnesota. Midwest in the wintertime, cold and snowy.
Right.
So I don't get to go out. But this time of year, I do my exercise in the morning. I'm out either walking 4 or 5 miles or biking 16 miles every day.
Yeah.
And so when I look at myself in the mirror, I should be like a stick. And I eat well, I do the juice thing, smoothie, juice plus, you name it. And I got this tire. We keep going back to the conversation about the car.
Yeah, that's right. But those are terms we haven't talked about yet, Denise. It's estrogen dominant. We don't have enough progesterone. Again, my little cup here, my receptors that are depleting after age 35. Estrogen dominant, we have more estrogen than progesterone. And that's that lovely, those ever so sexy, attractive love handles, the belly fat, the pear shape. So if we don't give you a lot of progesterone to balance that out and introduce estrogen after you need it after menopause, then really there's no hope. And if you try to go on a diet with your husband and you eat the same, work out the same, and he loses 10 pounds, you will lose an ounce. It's so frustrating because you're not cheating. You're just estrogen dominant. God love you because you're no longer 35. You know, who is?
No, the 35-year-olds.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm so glad that you talked about that, because somebody had said that to me. Is he a naturopath? No, I can't think. He's a chiropractor who studied maybe he's both. This is a doctor who here locally, who I love. His name is Dr. Mike. And I probably saw him, I don't even know, 7 years ago was probably the last time I saw him. And he was the first person who ever used the term estrogen dominant. And, we were working on some things, we went through the gut health thing, to clear leaky gut syndrome, and which was interesting because I had already been on, in the health and wellness world and ate well, but, things from the past, and this is one of the things I think is important for people to remember is, when you were 35, if things started to, kind of fall off the wagon at 35 and now you're 50 or 51, things are definitely kind of on that downswing. So you kind of have to look and say, it's been a long time. What can we do? And how long is this going to take? I think that you did mention before that, it's not something that happens right away when you start taking the hormones. The correct hormones. But typically with what I was doing with him, it seemed to be taking a long time to kind of get to kind of equilibrium, as I called it. Yeah. What is typical for most women who've been suffering to say to you, hey, Lyn, I feel great?
It's about 3 months, sometimes 3 weeks. I mean, it's not an aha moment. I mean, I had one friend who's about your age, maybe a little older. I'm older than you. And every winter had those winter blues. There's a name for it, I can't think. But she began
seasonal affective disorder.
There you go. That's because you are who you knew that, right? Okay, so she had that, and then she began our therapy the following year. And she woke up one day in February and thought, "Hey, I don't have that anymore. I feel good." It took her from November till February, and she thought for the first winter in years, I didn't have that. So I would say 3 weeks to 3 months, and you always come back in to see the doctor at 3 months to adjust dosing. And by the way, we put our little progesterone in these little HR tickers we use it vaginally or on the inner thigh. So it's not something you take, it's something that you use, and then you can adjust dosing. So I use 4 clicks based on my own testing. So you can just take it off and use it, but you can adjust dosing as needed. It's a beautiful thing to use and kind of take control of your journey as needed. Did that answer your question about the time frame?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question. There's products on the market that you can buy. There's a progesterone cream, I can't even think of the name of it, but I was in Walmart the other day and I saw one.
Yeah.
So there's something available. Talk about the difference of something that you just buy over the counter to something that is specific to you.
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm going to give you an A for that question, an A+ for that question.
Says the teacher. I'm teacher's pet.
Yeah, you are. But so by FDA law, things you buy over the counter have to have less than 2% of the progesterone in it by law, less than 2%. So it's going to maybe be helpful. I call it an aid, an AID, an A to help. But it's like going to Walmart or any drugstore. I love all of them, and Walgreens, and grabbing things off the shelf. We have Kroger's here, shopping of food, grabbing things off the shelf. I think women deserve a strategy. We want to go ahead and give you what you need based on testing. So you're not going to waste money in the long haul. We're going to give you what you need based on what your body needs for you. I think that's key. I wouldn't water it down and grab what I may or may not need. And the progesterone you get, over Progest Essence, whatever, at Walgreens over the counter may help you, but it's not refilling your receptors for the long haul. You want to be strategic because you're worth it. We are worth this. You want to have a strategy. I always say, don't guess, test, don't guess is my line.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. So speaking of tests, so I'm going to go from tests to studies because they kind of correlate. And your husband is a pharmacist. My husband is a scientist and a surgeon. So we know we're familiar with medical studies and scientific studies.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, there are some. I mean, there was a great study done in France. It's at least 30 years old, called the Fournier study. It's on my website. I think it's Fournier, Fournier study. It was done in Europe, I think 30 or 40 years ago. This has been done in Europe now, BHRT, for decades. But because of the regulations in our country, the FDA and all of that, the big pharma, all that piece, things are really limited in our country and really kind of controlled by the big pharma piece, right? All the TV commercials you see, all the shows you have, they're all run by these big pharma ads that sort of controls the media, right? If you go to my website, there's a readings and resources webpage with all this information. Again, my favorite easy book to read is right here. But the studies, they're on my website for people that want to read. We don't make this up. And it seems to me that millennials today and people that are coming up really want natural. They love what we do because we don't give drug therapy. We give what people need and women need to get better and find the root cause and fix that. So it's just, the studies are out there. You just have to know where to go. And I provide them for everyone on my website if they're interested.
I'm so glad that you have all of that, because that's always the conversation that we have in my house. We talk about study design, blah, 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 you name it, that we have those conversations. And so as the CEO and curator at Living Healthy List, I need to make sure that when we're talking about stuff, that this is real, that it's not just somebody who's trying to sell a product. Like, I was talking to somebody a handful of years ago, and I forget the MLM that they're with, and I'm not bashing MLMs,
Right.
they have their place. But there was a cream, and this was actually when I was going through, just finished with my fertility treatments.
Yes.
And they had, these products, and, this would be great for you. This would be really helpful. My upline says, and when I asked about studies, they're like, oh yeah, well, we did an in-house study, which is always kind of like, okay, so who did the study, who paid for the study?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for people to know that the studies that you have on your website are real official studies.
That's right. And we use the term evidence-based medicine around my house, evidence-based, right? And my husband's a clinician and he's a geek. I love him. He loves to research. He'll go to any study and go to where all the studies they did, and he'll click on all the fine print and he'll find out if they're bogus or not. He lives for that. Give me a beach romance novel, I'm happy. Not my husband. He's into the graphs and charts. He can deep dive and find out what's true and what's not true. You can probably relate to that with your husband. Oh my God. But
You're describing my husband.
Oh, it's exhausting. But the beauty of it is that he gets to the truth, and everything on my website has been vetted by people that are in the know, and they're out there. The studies are there. They just have to be read, right? And people have to understand them.
Exactly. And this is one of those things that why we're having this discussion, and why, and I'm going to put this out there, I'm on the list to be one of Lyn's patients. I have a little bit of stuff going on this summer, but I'm excited because, again, I want to know like everything. I've been doing the research. I've been doing these, studies on myself since I was 37, and I didn't meet Lyn until 2 months ago. So, wow. I mean, how amazing is this for me, but for everyone who's listening? This is a great opportunity for all of us to engage in the communications and the conversations, and really to educate ourselves in our own bodies.
Yeah, we have to put ourselves back on our list and take control of the choices we make. And if the information isn't out there, we're kind of, I hate to use the word screw, but we're kind of at loss, right? So we want to become educated and empowered for our best health naturally. I tell you, I love talking to women all day, and I never have a dull moment. Women are hilarious. And one woman zoomed in from her bed. She was a hairdresser. She's laying in her bed, zooming in. I was crying, laughing so hard. She was so funny. Women are hilarious. And then when they share their story on this, I do these small group Zooms. We were there, and one of them, they share their story, and they realize, my God, I'm not crazy. So Denise has this, and she has this. And her doctor said, really? And they feel validated, like, I am not, it is not in my head. This is real. I do matter. This is true. I am experiencing this, and there's help for me. And I think that's I love what I do every day, because women are so precious and they're worth it. They deserve their best, right?
Absolutely. And, Lyn, I really believe that this is something you were just meant to do this because, give it because your background as an educator, you are exciting. You're somebody who, when you start to talk about things, the information so well, and you provide the conversation, it's a conversation. It's not just, here, read this study. And it really is something that you obviously are passionate about, and that shows.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think people have to own their own health, own their own journey. What I was going to do for you is, for any listener who wants to sign up for one of my free classes, they're welcome to do that. We also do have individual step ones people can do as well, and I'm able to give a few of those away as well. But if they want to come into any of my Zoom sessions for free, and get more education, they're welcome to it, or not, whatever. I'm not selling myself.
No, I think that would be fabulous. If, before you and I get off completely, let's talk about that, how we can share that information with our audience, because I think that actually is amazing. You and I was on one of your calls, and when I went into it, I thought I had an idea about the topic, and I walked out of there going, man, I know nothing. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
Now I think it's, this is step one for us ladies.
Yeah, getting educated. And then, people may not want to come to Ohio. We have a license for telemedicine in Ohio and Florida. If you don't live there, you need to travel in to see us once a year. But if that isn't possible, maybe you could find a compounding lab in your area and ask them who they refer to. I will make a little PS here. We don't believe in pellets, where I'm a pellet antichrist. So please don't ever get them. They're just, go to my website, read my blogs. I give you facts about why we don't believe in pellets for women. There are many reasons. Don't do a pellet. You might want to find a company lab who actually refers to doctors who are functional medicine, who work in this realm of BHRT, and then kind of check the references and read the reviews on them and talk to other people in your area. Because my goal is to help women feel their best from wherever they are. Coming to see me is great if they can, but, and we do it really well. And there are people out there that don't get it and they want to push pellets. So just know what you're getting into. There are people around the country that will do what I do.
Yeah, and I do know, somebody who's done pellets, and what I've noticed with her is she's fine, and then she's not, and then she's up and down, depending, because it's not a continual thing. Like with the cream, you have it, you put it on, you use it.
Absolutely. But a lot of pellets, women lose their hair. Hair is a really big deal. We don't want male pattern baldness or balding heads or large Adam's apples, acne, facial hair. I could go on and on, but I'm just telling the listening audience, please just trust me. I would never lie to you. Just don't do a pellet. They're a great money maker. I don't need the money. I want you to be your best health forever and ever. So just don't do a pellet. Do nothing instead of pellets.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So Ohio and Florida, where's your location in Florida?
It's all telemedicine, but telemedicine through COVID has changed. Back during COVID, it was it was the wild, wild west. Maybe your husband knows about this, but once COVID ended, you don't have to have licenses to telemedicine. We have a license to do telemedicine for anyone who lives in Florida, or Ohio can be seen in person or do Zoom sessions. But if you live any other state, but Florida, Ohio, you have to be seen in person. Mm-hmm. And in Florida, it's just a Zoom call. There's no physical location there. Our NPS
gotcha.
In Florida.
Gotcha. But still, even still, to come and see you, and get feeling good and really experiencing a very different life from that day on, I think is really important for people to realize that, like you mentioned earlier, a Starbucks coffee every day, if you didn't do that and save that cash, guess what? You can actually feel better than that coffee's ever going to make you feel.
And actually, if you do the math, $90 in 6 months, it's like what, 10 cents a day. I mean, it's pennies. It's just such, and by the way, Cincinnati, Ohio, there's lots of neat things in Cincinnati to come to. So if you want to drive to Cincinnati, I've actually made a little travel brochure for people to come, of where to eat and where to stay and what to do, because we have a lot of people coming in now. So we've got some really famous things in Cincinnati. So don't discount that. It's a great trip. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. Lyn, one last time before we leave, tell everybody where they can find you and any last minute things you want to add.
Sure, yeah. So it's going to be happyhormonecottage.com. Don't forget those words, happyhormonecottage.com. If you want to write this number down, you can. It's 513-444-6343. Again, 513-444-6343 is our phone number. I've got 10 amazing employees working just for me to answer phones and calls. And then on the website, you'll see across the top a banner with Hormones 101 with Lyn offered. It says click here. You can book an appointment online if you want to sign up for that hormone. I do them Wednesdays and Thursdays. I'm in Eastern time, so I don't do your central thing. Don't confuse me. But I know Eastern time, it's Wednesdays at 1 and 3 and Thursdays at 1 and 4 Eastern time. I can take up to 5 or 6 women in a group, and they're free and they're fun. They're about 55 minutes. So awesome, educational. Hopefully anybody that listens can join those. I'll do this until I'm no longer around, forever and ever. A few more good decades, yes.
Forever and ever. I love it. And again, people, everybody, if you are listening and you have questions, definitely get into or onto one of those Zoom sessions with Lyn, because they are fabulous. So Lyn, thank you for this awesome conversation. I know this is going to be one of many.
I hope so. It's been so, I just admire what you're doing so much. And I think there's a lot of synergy there. And our goal is mutual, to help people have their healthiest life and their happiest life, because health is everything. Without your health, you have nothing, right? So it's been my.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to today's episode of the Wonder Series. I'm Denise Stegall with Living Healthy List, and of course, your host here of the Wonder Series. We'll see you next Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Till then, I leave you with this. Start wondering so you can start living.